Hey everyone, welcome back to the another episode of Power BI series. And today we are going to discuss about the Power Query. Now there are three ways which which you can actually go to the Power Query window. But before jumping onto the Power Query, let's understand that what is Power Query. Uh, let's say if for any applications there is always a front end and there is a back end process to that. But for the Power BI, especially for the Power BI, if you look at that, the way it has built is that there is a front end, which is right now we are in, is a Power BI desktop. And there is a back end of this Power BI desktop, what we call a Power Query, especially. So not only in Power BI, even the Excel has the Power Query, just same as the Power Query window, just like in Power BI desktop. And in which sections we actually use the Power Query. I think, this is one of the most asked questions that why we need a Power Query. So, for example, let's say if you have to transform anything, if your data is not right, if you have a lot of problem with your data, a lot of nuls are coming, in that scenario, you actually work with Power Query. Let me show you how you can go to the Power Query window now. So there are three options from that you can actually go to the Power Query window. The first one to from the transform data section. So yes, if you have not even added any data, you just go there, and if you click on the transform data sections, this is here, and it will take you to the Power Query window. And this is how the Power Query window looks like. As we don't have any data here, it's coming blank. Okay. What are the other two options? Another one is when you are loading your data. For example, let's say our data is sitting on desktop CSV. So I'll just click on that. I have retail data and I'll click on that. Once the connection gets established, I'll get this window pop-up as we know already. And in this section, we have something called transform data. So instead of loading, if you click on the transform data, it will take you directly to the Power Query window, and from there you can make all the changes. Now, if you look at this data, there is something missing in this data, right? There is no column name, especially adding. I think there is some null data here over the first row, especially, and there is, if you look at this one, there is some dot available, which is not a proper formatting of the data. So what we are going to do in this video is that what we are going to transform this to a proper data so that we can work on that. If we don't transform the data, what will happen? Like if I just go and close and apply, which is the way you can actually close and apply all your process, which I'll discuss in a bit, that which section you choose while you are done with your transformations. Let's say if you do that, what will happen? That you will have all the data, but you don't have any column name. Now, this is the first problem, right? And second problem could be you have multiple things in one column. Even you don't know which column to pick for what kind of visualizations or what kind of charts you're looking for with which data. Third problem would be if you are working with multiple data. In that scenario, this will be a challenge to connect with a multiple data source. So that what we can do, we can just now this is the third way actually to go to the transform data, is that you can come here, you see this dot 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 options, you click on that, and then you can click or choose the edit query sections, which will take you to the Power Query window back. Now here we are going to replace this blank, and we're going to delete this, we are going to remove that, and then we're going to append this entire column name, which is supposed to be on the top. It's right now on the row number 2, and to have the proper column name. Not only that, we are going to see that how, if in case, let's say in the future, or maybe in the recurring event, you get the same data, the same type of data from maybe a similar data source, how you can automate the entire process. The main motto of Power Query is to automate your entire transform process, or maybe in a technical term, what we call ETL, extract, transform and load. We have extract our data from any of the database, or right now in our case, this is our CSV data sitting in a folder. Now we are going to transform this, and then we're going to load this to our Power BI desktop. Okay. Now, before we jump on to cleaning our data, let's understand a couple of small details about the Power Query window. Now, Power Query window has a similar structure to our Power BI desktop, like in terms of options. We have a home menu where we have all the transforming options available. We have again a dedicated transform sections where we can transform the part. Different type of options are available. Something called a third option, which is add column option, which is where you can add extra column. For example, if you need more column, you have to add it here. Okay. And then the last three options are, one is the view options. If you want to change the view of how you're looking your column, you can actually do that. For example, if I have to show you quickly, if I want to understand my column profile, I can select on my column profile, and which will give me a uh, bar chart with the column distributions and all. Similarly, you can select the other options, and that will show you some details of your column. It's nothing but the details of your data actually. And then you have other options that as well available. And then we have other two options, which is tool options and the help options. Okay, so very basic of our Power Query window. And then on left hand side, what you call the queries options available. Queries is nothing but the data, right? In case we have added a retail data over here, which is nothing but our retail data for 2024. Okay, if you look at that, I'll show you how you can even check your data as well. On right hand side, you have the options of where all the details are getting captured. The first one is your name. Maybe if you want to change the name to 2014, uh, you can probably do that. Uh, so now I have a proper name of 2014 data. And the last part is the applied steps. This is nothing but the steps you take. It's get captured over here so that the next time you add the data, the similar kind of data, which will follow all the steps all together. Okay. So this is all the steps. Now there is another very important sections available which comes under a bit of advanced Power BI or the Power Query part, which is nothing but this, especially this white space, right? If you look at that, it's overwhelming right now to look into this, especially that it looks like some of a Python code or some of the code or language, right? This is in Power Query we call M language. This is nothing but whatever steps you take, Power BI or the Power Query creates a code out of that and automatically does the job for you. You don't have to write the code, it does it for you, and that gets captured. In an advanced scenario, if you want to make any changes through this code, you can also do that, which is not the scope of this video, but we'll definitely explore that in future videos as well. Now let's come to clear the data quickly. First, I have to remove my row, which is the first row. How can I remove that? I'll go to these sections under the home section where I have options for removing rows. I can click on that and I can select that how I want to remove my rows. In this case, I have to remove my rows through the top rows, right? I have a problem in my top sections. So I'll select on that. Okay, this is the error we are getting because I am in the first step and it is asking, do you really want to make that changes in between two steps? I can probably go to the next steps and I can do that. Or I would have said yes to that messages. I'll go again and I can do a remove top rows. It will pop up window where I have to specify the number of rows I want to remove. I'll say one in our case and I'll click on OK. Now the first row got removed. And the next part, I have to append my column name to the top so that I have a proper column name, right? In this case, I can go quickly here. I can select use first row as a header, which is an option under home section. The same options are available on the transform page as well, but you can select your first row as a header. There are multiple options, which is similar available on home section is already also there in the transform section. And I'll click on that, and you see that I have gotten my column, my row into the column, and all the steps I'm taking, it's getting captured over here. Now, what I have to do once I'm done with that, either I can check all the details for here, and if you feel like you are done, you can go here and close and apply. Close and apply means that whatever steps you have taken, it will applied all the steps, and it will close the window as well. But you have other option as well, where you can choose only apply. It will apply all the steps, but not close the window. Maybe let's say you are working and you have to move out for something, you don't want to close that, you can choose this option. Or there is something on close, you don't want to really choose any of the steps you have applied and you want to close that. But make sure that every time if you make any changes, you close or you apply or close or apply any of the options you have, you should choose, else you might lose your the work. I'll Now in this case I'll just close and apply, and I if you look at that, it's just started loading and I got my data.